Yeah, we like to interview influential women in the sport of archery.
We're obviously very laid back.
And if there's something completely inappropriate that happens, just tell Julie, edit that out. Basically, it's a bunch of girls talking about archery.
We're talking now?
Welcome to
talking?
another episode of the Bo Divas.
We've got all of our inappropriate conversation out of the way before you hit record.
Some of you may know this is our 11th month. That was an answer. Tonight we're just going to talk. Us three girls are going to talk. We don't have anyone to interview. We had some exciting things happen the last couple of weeks with a couple of these gals. So let's get started. I'm here with Barb.
Hi, Annalesha.
And Julie.
Hi, Annalesha.
Hey. And it's me. So.
And Otto.
Oh, and Otto.
Yeah, the podcast dog.
We're surrounded by heaters trying to stay warm, and Otto jumps off our laps to go find a heater to sit in front of. But
oh, he's trying to get up here.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on a minute.
Now he's decided he wants to be babied.
Let me get His Highness up here.
His Highness. So, this will air this Thursday. So
Yes.
Yep.
So Tuesday we gave away some really cool stuff. I like doing that future thing.
But that's boggling my mind. Oh.
It blows your mind.
It's like going back in time.
Yeah. So Tuesday we gave
Time
away a cup. We reached our 10,000 downloads, so we gave away the
hat.
Target hat.
Yes.
Yeah, the beanie. Perfect timing because it's flipping cold here in the Midwest. We gave away some stickers and we gave away some other things.
Did you say the release?
Oh yeah, we had the
Rogers donated a nice Scott wrist strap release. So
and Sean Bright won that. So
Yeah.
Sean, if you're listening to this, thank you.
And
Congratulations.
those are nice and handy to have during hunting season. So
And that was nice of Rogers to donate that too.
Heck yeah.
We really appreciate their support. We had Sonia on a few episodes ago. We interviewed her. She's the clothing department manager at Rogers.
Yeah, she made us feel all totally inadequate because we don't have the right stuff.
Well, we don't match either.
We don't match. Our camo doesn't match.
Right. So we did that, and what else were we going to talk about? Well, it's Christmas almost.
Yeah, it is Christmas almost. So this week, Julie got a request from Cara Kelly at Archer to become an ambassador.
An Archer ambassador.
So Julie's going to tell us a little bit about that program. Maybe we'll have Cara on later on to discuss it a little further.
Yeah, so what is Archer?
The way I understand it, after my conversation with Cara, is what?
He's falling asleep.
I was picking, petting him and picking fuzz off of him.
He looks like so into your our conversation. Go ahead. What were you saying?
This podcast interrupted by Otto again. Because he's so stinking cute.
Yeah.
So that's right.
Anyway, the Archer Ambassador Program is going to be 20 amateur women shooters that they have invited to join the program, and we will basically promote the sport of archery among women and children. I mean, I'm sure, anybody really, but the focus is on the women.
So do the ambassadors stay the same, or are they different each year?
I don't know. This is like the very first Archer Ambassador Program. This is, the ground floor, the groundbreaking year. So.
Oh, okay. So it's new.
Yeah. We will be writing pieces for the website and maybe doing some other social media, like when we're at shoots, taking selfies and just reaching out and connecting to other archers that are out there on the ranges.
Kind of in the same way, Shoots Like a Girl promotes women in just outdoor sports
And
or
how
shooting
the Bo
sports.
Divas do as well.
Yeah, Bo Divas promote women in archery.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Women, girls,
We want to hear
ladies.
their story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's a good connection. I think we're all trying to accomplish the same thing. We're just
Two and
going
the
about
same.
it just a couple of different ways. And I'm really excited. I mean, I signed with the outdoor group, so that's Elite and Scott and CBE and all of those brands. And I was, really thankful and excited about that. But I think I'm more excited, no offense, guys, about this program because I think it's just so closely aligned to what we're doing on
Right.
the podcast here.
And what we believe in as people, too.
Right.
I mean, not just the podcast, but yeah.
Right, just reaching out to other female archers and,
Right.
Encouraging them or helping them along the way or, whatever we can do.
Well, and I mean, one of the things I've liked about Archer, and I'm not sure exactly what the motivation was for some of the ladies who started. Cara started it, and I think isn't Christina Harrelson. I'm not sure exactly who's.
I don't think Christine started it. Cara and I can't remember who else. There's another lady professional.
I know who it is, and my
Yeah.
mind's not working now.
And they
Of course, when I need to remember a name, I can't.
Right.
I'll be Googling. We'll get like 2/3 of the way through, and I'll just shout out a name. And
But I think they did it to just shed more light and more focus on female archers
Right.
and the professional female archers because the guys do get
Right,
so
that's-
much coverage.
that's kind of what I was kind of referring to is that, and nothing wrong with the guys, but so much of the time, much of the media tends to, highlight the men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guys,
Right. and the professional guys. And I think that's one of the things that the ambassador program is doing is answering the call for more focus on what the amateur
Is it
women
Caitlin
are
Price?
doing. It might be. I don't honestly. I have to apologize. I don't know.
Well,
who it
you're
is.
just, this is a new program.
Yeah.
You just were asked, so it's fairly new for
Yeah.
you.
I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to do.
And they
some
have a
good things.
website.
Yes, womenarchers.com, I believe.
Okay.
Archers plural.
And you'll
Let me
be-
double check that.
You'll be on that as well.
The ambassadors have a different.
A different website.
Yeah, is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
all Archer, and I think the ambassadors will be on that same. But I think it's womenarchers.com. I'm looking.
Okay,
real quick.
Archer. Their Facebook page is Archer, and it's ARC, and then the HER is capitalized.
Mhm.
And that's literally all it is.
Yeah, and I've just pulled it up. So their website, their own page is womenarchers.com. So yeah,
Okay.
that was right. And I know she mentioned something about a new webpage. They're working on it. So if you go and check it out,
God dang!
keep
Did you?
checking it out because I think they're going to have some.
Sorry, I got distracted
new
here.
stuff
But
on there.
on Archer's website, Rhonda Calhoun had this awesome deer on
Oh yeah,
video.
Yeah.
It's a great shot.
and she's a total sweetheart. I got to shoot the practice range with her and Connie at London, I think, in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So nice.
Cool.
Yeah, she's a really sweet lady. I was really happy for her when I saw her get that deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little jealous, but
Yeah. Well, and what's cool is she got some great video of it. Like it should
Oh,
replay.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch. So.
Yeah,
It's
go on the
ju-
website. Check that out because that is
Yeah.
really cool.
And
Beautiful deer.
it is a
Mhm. He is
beautiful deer,
beautiful.
and he's standing just perfect broadside, and
Oh, yeah. That's neat.
you can even see the arrow hit it and everything. That's really. I've watched that about 16 times. So.
My luck, if I tried to do something like it, well, first of all, I haven't got a deer, but if I were to ever, it would just get like the tail going out of frame.
That sounds
'cause-
like my hunting.
That's
Exactly
impressive
like
that they
it.
can get video of it because it's really hard to
Yeah.
video, and hunt at the same time.
Well, was he clued in that something was over there? Because he just stood there staring and staring and staring.
Yeah, I
And I'm
know.
like, shoot it, shoot it. Come on, when are you going to shoot it?
Well, and I think it was slow mode a little bit. So sorry to get off topic, but
That's
but yeah,
okay.
it was great video of the shot too. I thought that was pretty cool. So
Yeah. It is hard. It would be definitely hard to video and try to shoot.
Jim and I've tried to do it several times, and I've
hard.
filmed Katie. Shooting it, it's not easy because you got two people you got to worry about moving. A lot of times when the shooter can see the deer, you can't get a good camera angle on it. You got all sorts of lighting issues and blah blah blah. It can be difficult.
Well, we'll just put a little blurb in there. Maybe we need cameramen. Anybody wants to work for the Bo Divas as cameramen, come on over.
But
For
there's no
free.
pay.
For free. Yeah.
We'll
Well-
give you a sticker.
There you go. All the stickers and cups.
That's
Yeah.
right. So anyway, yep. So excited about that and very thankful and grateful
Right.
for that opportunity. And that'll help out the Bo Divas too because of the opportunities that I think
Right.
that are going to come my way because I am a Bo Diva that's,
Right.
in return going to extend to the podcast and what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. That is really cool.
Very
And then
excited.
I know you probably talked a little bit last time about the outdoor group. Anything new on that?
No, not yet.
You got your release. I saw that.
That's actually Bob's release.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's what you'll have.
Well, I've asked for a Sigma. I don't know, if I'll get one or not, if I can
Yeah.
get my hands on one or if I can afford one, if I have to buy it. So
Right.
I'm just taking it one step at a time here. Trying to be patient. Everything should start rolling after the ATA show and I'll know more about the products that
Yeah.
they'll be carrying because they're unveiling their flagship bows at the ATA show instead of like in October time frame, September, October, when a lot of the other manufacturers do. So hopefully I'll have more detailed information in future podcasts.
Have you been hunting at all?
No, I hunted rifle season. I don't know if we talked about that or not. I had an opportunity to shoot a big doe, a nice doe, but I didn't know if I had permission.
Oh.
And so I let her walk, and then I get a text. I had sent a message to Vince, said, well, a doe just went by, like at 7 yards, and
Were you were rifle hunting though?
yeah, and pretty soon, and she was walking away from me, so I could have shot her all day long, and I get a text from Bob because we were hunting with him, and he's like, shoot it.
Oh.
I'm
Too
like,
late.
well, too late, Bob. She's gone. If I had
Yeah.
known, but try to respect the property owners and what they want. And Bob, I think, will harvest a doe late season, but I think they tend to focus on harvesting bucks earlier in the season or rifle season and before. And so I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. So that's about all the hunting I've been able to do.
Speaking of hunting, I saw since I did this online with your tags. Have you done that? The applicate. There's an app on your phone where you do your tags.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I get emails like crazy. Apparently, out of all the deer they've tested for CWD, they've only had 2 come up positive.
Really?
And that's like something like 15,000, 16,000 deer or something like that.
Wow, that really surprises me.
I know.
I was expecting a bigger number than that.
2 so far. There's some more tests that still got to go through. So, but yeah, that's a pretty small. I mean, I thought there'd be way more than that. So that's good news, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you been hunting anymore?
I don't think since the last time we recorded. It's too dang cold. I can't do that.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
just
it's too dang cold. As a matter of fact, I put my 3D stuff on yesterday, back on my bow.
What was the low? It got down to -8.
Negative something. I don't know. It was bad.
I think the lowest was -8. At least where I'm at.
Before the wind chill.
Before the wind chill, yeah.
And this is when, and I've seen them this week through the backyard like crazy.
Yeah, and they do move, don't they, when it's that cold? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never out when it's that cold, so I wouldn't know. But
No.
No.
I figured I could maybe just go ahead and still hunt in my turkey or sight in my turkey arrow for 20 and 30. And so if a turkey does run, I will run out back and shoot it.
Wait,
If I
call me, I'll come be your video. In PJs? PJs?
There you go.
That sounds good.
So I need a GoPro, just like stick it in my head or something.
Yeah, that would be better footage. Gung, 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 running after a little turkey.
Stop! Wait!
I've never harvested a turkey with my bow, and that's something I'd really like to do.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So
Yeah.
they're hard. They're hard. They don't like the second they see you move.
Oh yeah, you can.
They're dumb creatures.
They
blink your
are,
eye
but
and
they're
they'll see
so
it.
like to me they're way harder to shoot with a
Sure.
bow than a deer.
Sure.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, but anyway.
Yeah, I haven't done it, but
Skittish.
I've heard that they're
I haven't done it either.
tough to shoot with a bow.
Yeah.
It would be, if it wasn't so stinking cold, it would be good to be hunting right now with some snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I've-
The sea.
I've done that once or twice, and it was really cool.
I've done that once.
Yeah, it was fun, but
I still
I'm not
didn't
going
see
out there when
anything.
it's 10 degrees.
So preparation for Las Vegas, that was the other thing.
Oh,
I was
Preparation
wanting
for
to-
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get your room. You got to register. Let's see.
Airline tickets,
Airline tickets, rental car if you got one.
right?
Hover
Are
around.
you going to do a rental car?
hover around if you got your dad?
Yeah.
He's getting one. Am I renting a car? Yes, I am
Yeah.
renting a car. That's the only way I feel excited about going, because if I thought I had to be there trapped in a hotel way far away from the strip, I wouldn't have no fun.
So do you normally shoot your times and then go run around? Is that kind of
Yeah.
how? Yeah. You don't stay there and watch a bunch of other people or go to the vendor station?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, we're gonna be there for 7 days.
Okay.
So when it's the 3 days of shooting, I like to go around, mingle, because I mean that's the only time you get to see everyone. And really, truly, you don't walk very far without getting stopped and getting to talk another conversation about a different thing. And you're just like, wait, hold on, I gotta go take a nap. I've already talked about everything. I do that. Do.
You do.
And then we walk around to the vendors. We spent a lot of time doing that because a lot of times the vendors will have like $5 T-shirts, and the tables will be loaded with giveaways, which I'm sure you have at the ASAs as well. But Vegas is really the only one NFAA wise that does the big giveaway. Yeah, I mean, I don't nationals. I mean, there's tons of vendors, but they don't do the cheap shirts and they don't do that. But so we run around that. We watch the people in the main arena, the pros, and then of course they'll have the big dinner, the appreciation dinner, and you can sit and watch the world finals. So you get to watch all of our best people get down there, the top 16, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. And they shoot off for their placings, and that's always a good time. And they have the T-shirt guns and give away bows and releases and all that stuff. So there's that. And then we run around before the shoot because we'll get down Wednesday, I believe.
When do you start shooting? Friday or Saturday?
You know, the Impact Archery there in Vegas holds a shoot as well in the practice arena. They hold a complete separate shoot.
Oh,
Really?
they do.
So,
when is that?
I think it's Friday night.
Really?
Yeah. 3 years ago, they had it at their shop, which some of the big names came and shot it, and they just didn't have the room there.
Right.
So they moved it to the practice arena, and I think it's really taken off. So that's Impact Archery there in Vegas, and all the people are super nice. And you can go practice there, too, if you can't find a spot on the line, because sometimes that's crazy, getting in there and practicing in the ballrooms. You can go over there to Impact Archery, and I think it's like $10, and there's
How far
a timer.
away is it from the hotel?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's kind of one of those deals where you'd have to have a rental car to do
Right.
that too. It's across that main highway. The strip runs along a main highway. I want to say 65.
I don't. It's an interstate.
It's an
that
interstate,
runs,
yeah.
like through there, but I don't remember
Right.
which
So
one
the
it is.
strip is on one side, and then there's like a strip of just like businesses on the other side, and it's over there. I could probably look up the address, but you guys
So it's
can
what,
just
like
as
10
well
minutes away or 15 minutes away? It's not very far.
from South Point or from the Strip.
From South Point.
I would say 5-6 minutes. It's,
Okay.
Once you get on the
It's really-
interstate, like
It's
we've stayed at the Stratosphere before. It's taken us 8 minutes on the interstate to get to
Oh,
South
wow.
Point, which
Okay.
is complete opposite end. So I would say 5-6 minutes,
yeah,
depending on.
it's when you drive down the Strip that it gets to be
Oh
bad.
yeah, forget
Yeah.
going down the. I mean, that's like a novelty thing. You go once or twice, and then you're like highway the rest of the time because you can get off on most of the.
But my other question though was preparing shoot wise. What do you do? Make any equipment changes or practice a lot or just
Yeah, a lot of practicing. We have
Just shoot your
one
league?
league. We just have one league going right now. So we're going out to Tri-County on Mondays and practicing, and then every weekend there's a
Shoot.
tournament in town somewhere. This last week, with all the snow and the cold weather, we missed out on 2 local tournaments just because it was so stinking cold.
Right.
And it was, I mean, our road is like the last one in Kansas City. And I mean, I live in town. We are the last ones to get our road plowed. So we didn't get out. I know.
we kind of have that situation here.
I bet you
Yeah.
do too.
And
Yeah.
we live out in the boonies, and so
Right.
they do all the main roads first, and then they'll do the secondary roads. Well,
Mhm.
we live on a double lettered highway, so it's like one of the last ones to get done. And I wanted to go out.
So
to
is that how they
Tri-County
do
and
it?
Shoot.
Are they like, let's do the double letters last?
I don't know. That's what I assume
Well,
because
Darren and Jesse made it out there.
they're crazy.
I know.
They're crazy.
Literally, I was sitting in my warm, cozy blanket in my PJs saying, nope, I'm
Yeah.
not going. No one's going to show up. I'm not going out just to practice. I am not going. And then Frazier calls and goes, you
Jim's
guys
there.
heading out? I'm like, well,
crap.
I'm still on PJs. You can go if you want. And then
Did Keith go up there?
no.
With Al?
No, we didn't leave. Neither one of our trucks, even though his is huge and mine looks as though it could be 4-wheel drive, neither one of our vehicles is 4-wheel drive. And we live at the bottom of the bowl. We have hills every way to get out. And so it's really hard for us to get up the hills to get out and then to get home too. So we decided it wasn't worth
Yeah.
trying. But then we find out Jesse made it and Darren made it and Frazier made it. And we're just like, wow, we're big old wimps. This is our home, our home range.
Vince was supposed to work Sunday, and he didn't go because he tried to get out Saturday to see how the roads were. And thankfully, our neighbor had a
Saw that.
tractor. He got stuck, and he couldn't go anywhere. And so our neighbor came with the tractor and pulled him out.
Ice again.
Yeah, it was
know.
really, really bad out our way. I think it just was that fine mist all day long, and it just froze. And that is the hardest time I've ever had on slick roads.
Right.
Trying to get home from work.
They did a
It
good
was
job
bad.
around here putting salt down. We didn't have too much trouble, actually. It's Friday night. Was it Friday when it started?
Mm-hmm.
It was really slick on our street, really bad, until the truck came around. Jim and I ran somewhere and had to come back, and the truck had just come. And and it made a huge difference.
They didn't come out our road. We didn't notice them coming out our road until late Saturday evening, Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, I swear it went by our house about 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, so is the guy just like driving to one end of the road, turn around and come and just back and forth? And
He's
back
like, I
and
gotta empty this
yeah,
load.
and so we did get out on Sunday, and we thought, okay, well, our road looks pretty good. So if our road's good, then A highway is going to be in really good shape, and then 10 and 210 is going to be really good. We got out to A, and we were stunned. Our road was in much better shape
Was it?
than A was. We couldn't believe it. It's
Huh.
like, what were they doing?
Your
Because-
Facebook made it sound like you were about to carve up Vince and start eating him, like those survivor planes that land in the Andes, and
That's
there's
right, like the Donner Party.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. Start eating each other.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, if you're
Resort-
friends,
completely
if you're friends
bored and
with
acting like an
Julie-
idiot.
If you're friends with Julie, you got a little drama, a little. What do they call that when it comes in threes?
I was like, Jim,
A
trilogy.
trilogy.
so maybe we're call Vince, and I'm concerned about him.
I know. Yeah, we didn't hear a peep out of Vince.
I know.
He was busy watching the 2-star movies on Netflix.
Yeah.
This jerky I made out of his thigh is pretty tasty.
I don't know if I would eat Vince thigh jerky, even if I was really hungry.
Yeah, I don't know. Better than rump roast.
Oh, you know these guys listening to this are going, "Oh my god!"
It's like Julie's like, what's that gal in Sweeney Todd, the Mrs. Lovett?
Sweeney Todd.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay, we'll get back on track.
Yeah, are you
Yeah.
doing anything to prep for Vegas?
Actually, well, I'm just doing stuff to just try to better my game, period. Now, like talking about Vegas, I know you booked at the place next door. What's it called?
The Grand View at Las Vegas.
And we went ahead and booked at South Point, and I did that way back.
Yeah, because if you didn't,
Yeah, like
they're
in
gone.
September or
Yeah.
something. And the way we do it, a lot of people say, oh, it's expensive to go to Vegas. And yes, it is. But so that it doesn't make a big hit on our pocketbook, what I try to do is in August, I watch Southwest for the cheap airfare. And so I buy the tickets. And then about a month or so later, then I'll book the room for South Point. And you only have to pay, I think, the first and the last night. You can pay the balance when you get there. So then that gives us all that time to save up money
to pay the rest.
balance when we get there. And then I'll pay our registration, which is, what, 175? Is it 175?
I didn't.
It's expensive.
I didn't
Or is it
register,
75?
but
I
I thought it was
don't- I don't-
125. But I could be
maybe.
completely wrong.
I don't know. It shows you how much I pay attention to it. I just do it and go. So anyway, at some point between now and then, I'll sign one of us up or both of us up if we have the money for it. And so we do it in stages. As far as the actual shooting goes, after talking to Megan, hold on, let me put Otto down. She talked about that book, Golf Isn't a Game of Perfect.
Yes.
I ordered it. It was
Did ya?
It was less than $20 for the CD, the audio version, and so I've been listening to it on my way to work and on my way home from work, and it really makes a lot of sense what he talks about. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something specific that he's talking about, like aiming. Like, of course, you have to keep in mind it's golf. And so it's going to have some parallels, but then there's going to be some things that are totally different. But like he talks about, like when you're hitting your shot in golf, to look at the smallest point possible.
Okay.
And I can see that with archery, I guess, because I know a lot of people have said that I've heard talk about it will stare at like the very center of the X. And that's like on a 5-spot because that's the smallest solid thing that you can look at, or the X on a Vegas target. So I've been thinking about that, will that work for me, or will that freak me out a little bit? Because I kind of like to just look at the X in general and not really try to pick out a certain spot, because then I think in my mind...
To me, the X is small enough.
Well, yeah, because then I'll get freaked out, because then I'm like, oh my God, I got to hit it. And if I'm not hitting it, and then I get panicky, you know what I'm saying?
That's only going to work, though, your first 3 shots, because then
you get a hole.
And then your eye goes straight.
That's what I was about to
That's
ask.
true.
Is that the reason people make a hole and tend to hit the hole, even if it's not where they want it to be?
That's my usually
That's what I
game
wanna
plan.
do.
Is I go in there and my first 6 practice arrows, I want closest to center. And if I get that, usually I do pretty good. If I don't, it's going to be a crappy tournament.
The other night we were
so-
shooting a 5-spot.
Yeah.
And the one spot I kept hitting just to the right of the X. And of course then I'm like, okay, I don't want to hit there. So I kept trying to aim to the left of it, and my brain's going, it
doesn't.
I'm not sure that part's going to work for me.
Right.
But like I said, it's golf. So there's
Yeah.
going to be some application, and there's going to be some that's not. And
Right.
just about staying confident in yourself and believing in yourself. A lot about the mental game is what it talks about. And I could see where that totally carries over to archery.
Right.
Believing in yourself. Yes, I can do it. The positive self-talk. Don't beat yourself up. If you have a bad shot, you've got to let it go.
Right.
Don't try to make it happen. Let it happen. Just those types of concepts.
Right.
And it's really super easy to listen to. It's
Do you get an audio book?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
yeah.
That's
And
the best way
and
to
I'll be
do
happy
it,
to
really.
share it with you guys too. It's an easy listen, and if somebody actually had the book, I'm sure it's an easy read.
Right.
But it's got some good
Audiobooks would
stuff
be
in
good
it.
for me because I listen to stuff a lot when I wonder if you could do it on a download, like a
I think you can. I just wanted the CD because that way if we're traveling to a shoot or whatever, we
You
could
could
just pop
play
it
it.
in and listen to it.
Right.
And that is very nice. I mean, to be able to do that on a long trip, like going to nationals or whatever, we do
Right.
that. But we use the same one every time, usually. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, it's like a new book every time we throw
Right.
it in.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
What did you say that the last time?
yeah, I don't
remember.
remember that part. Must have
Yeah.
been sleeping.
So it's good, but like I said,
What was the name of it again?
Golf is Not a Game of Perfect, and it's by Dr. Bob Rotella.
Okay.
Anyway, I thought it was some good stuff. It's been a few days since I've listened to it, so my memory's a
Right.
little sketchy on it. The other thing I've been doing is listening to John Dudley,
Yeah.
the Knock On podcasts, and I've changed how I've changed, like not drastically changed it, but just tweaked like my whole
Right.
shot process, like my foot spacing and checking my grip hand. I'm trying to basically
gets-
mirror it. Like, and I saw that he
Right.
had a video out on that too, and this episode had come out like back
Yeah.
in the spring, I think. And to me, for my mental game and my confidence, it's totally changed my
Has it?
confidence. Oh yeah.
Well, Dudley is very form oriented. Is kind of what if I were to say, you listen to a lot of different pros talk or whatever. He's very he gets very specific about form. You know what I mean?
And I think that's
And-
good because then that leaves nothing to question.
Well, you
did he
develop
did he mean this
consistency.
or did he mean that? What does he mean? And he's very specific about that, and very. I don't know. I think he just explains it in a way. For me personally, I understand it better than
he
anybody
explains
else.
it great. He is great.
I've never listened to it.
Oh,
so-
you should.
He's
He's kind of sorry, John Dudley, if you ever listen to this, which I doubt
I don't
you
think
ever
we're
will.
gonna.
But
I don't think we're gonna be in trouble there. But
he's kind of hard to listen to because he's kind of monotone and
he has a monotone voice,
and he talks kind of slow and
And he also gets very in-depth technical. Like
Yeah.
there was a part of one, Jim Forbes sent me something. You need to listen to this podcast of Dudley because he kind of talked a little bit about elite bows. Well, my gosh, I listened to 45 minutes of front of center and on arrow and, balancing arrows and tips and shafts. And, I mean, I listened to a lot of techie talk before I got to the part.
yeah. Sometimes I'll skip through like the things that I don't want to find out about at that point, and I'll just keep skipping until I find the section that I do want.
He answers a lot of questions for like what I would consider like bow mechanics, basically.
Yeah.
People are going to get really in depth in bow mechanics because he has a ton of information. But then I hate to sometimes listen to that because I mean, like my knowledge level there isn't that good, and then I feel like my stuff isn't right, man. Oh my gosh, is my front of center on my arrow right? I don't know.
I don't even know what front of center is.
And then if I go ask Jim, I like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But now I'm worried about it because I listened to John
Dudley
Dudley.
said. But when he talked about, because one of his listeners wrote in and asked, what is your shot process or what is your sequence? And he explained it step by step by step what he
Yes.
does. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, it makes so much sense. I'm going to try this. And
Yeah.
my confidence, my self-confidence in my shooting has just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, like, eventually score-wise, that if I keep applying all the things that he's talked about, that, because that is, let's admit it, that is your end goal. You want, but in order to get to that number, you have to shoot perfect form, perfect shots, so on and so forth, plus keep your mental game together on top of all of it. And I can feel a difference in myself
Good.
from listening to him. I have had the Kool-Aid, and I'm a believer.
I need to do some regrouping because my right out of the gate is normally a little bit better than this year. I'm struggling a little bit. I have worked on a few things, like I'm just talking about getting ready for Vegas and stuff. I found a few things out that I have been doing just because I started a little late this year, getting ready, preparing. But I never thought I had to think that hard about my shot process. I just felt like it happened. This year, for whatever reason, I've really had, maybe that's the problem too. I'm overthinking it when it
Could be.
normally was so easy.
Yeah.
Well, not easy, but it just didn't require a whole lot of.
Does your brain hurt? Mine does sometimes.
No, no, but I mean, just like simple things like, setting up, where the string goes. How's your grip feel? Right now, I'm working with my grip. I worked a little bit with my shoulder earlier in the year, and I don't know if I was overdoing all that because I was thinking too hard. Like, oh, I should probably start like really investigating my shot. And so anyway, I need to regroup. So maybe listening to a few of those podcasts would, or you listen to them and then you give me the non-monotone version.
The cliff notes.
Because seriously,
Yeah, he does.
do some cliff notes for me because I cannot. It's so hard for me.
It's
to
hard
listen
to stay
somebody
focused.
monotone.
Yeah, and there's been times where I'll listen to him on my way to work or whatever.
Right.
And 5 minutes goes by and I'm like, oh wait, what did he say? And so I'll back it up because I'll kind of zone out.
Yeah.
He gets pretty techie too, and he does cover a lot of hunting also.
Yeah.
So it just depends. It's kind of, you got to figure out or pick and choose what you want to listen to.
Now, when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast and he was talking about hunting and shooting and everything,
A lot of hunting.
and he told the story about the wolves.
That was interesting.
That was so cool.
Huh.
That was really one of the better podcasts that I've ever heard, was that episode. I thought
Of Joe
that was-
Rogan.
Yeah, that when Dudley was on there.
Hmm.
But we went to Illinois. I started implementing this stuff before we went to the Midwest Open. And my first day, my 5-spot day, was terrible. I could not hit X's to save my life. And I was doing everything that I had practiced, that I had implemented from listening to his podcast. But it did make a difference on the Vegas day. I think I shot more X's that day in competition than I ever have.
Do you think maybe it's because that X is smaller?
I think,
I don't know.
I'd been practicing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
on
because
the
you were talking
Vegas,
about the
and
aim at the smaller spot.
It shrinks your point of focus. It could
Right.
be.
Yeah.
But I
Aim
really,
small, miss small type.
yeah.
For
And
some reason, when you look at both those targets through a scope,
Oh, it's night and day for
they
me.
look. I can see the Vegas target
Apples
better
and
on my
oranges.
setup than I can see the
Can
5-spot. This 5-spot just seems to be dark for
Yeah.
some reason for me, and I've never really had that issue before.
maybe it's all that the dark blue circles,
think it
basically.
is.
Yeah.
Have you
I think it is.
changed your peep?
I'm shooting the same peep that I shot for 3D. I have a clarifier in it.
I mean, you're saying it's
You
dark
added a
this year. You never
clarifier.
noticed that?
No.
Oh, okay.
And it might be the clarifier just making it a little darker. I'm wondering if it's just a matter of getting used to it, shooting the 5-spot more. So when we went to Carrollton last night to shoot, I shot a 5-spot round. And my X count jumped way up versus the last time. So there is noticeable improvement. One of the things I'm really focusing on from listening to him, he talks about, like, pretend like somebody has a hold of a hair on the top of your head pulling straight up.
Now, is this Dudley you're talking
This
about?
is
or
Dudley.
Okay.
And you need to keep your head upright. If you lean it forward, backward, side to side, or whatever, then that hair is going to pull. You can swivel your head, but don't rock
Hunch.
it back and forth or move it. And me thinking about that and then implementing that in my practice sessions has made a big difference, because I think I draw my bow and then I was taking my face to my bow, not realizing that I had developed that habit.
And I've had that issue too. I've been debating on which to shoot, a hinge or a button.
I'm sticking with a button.
I think I'm going to stick with a button too. I'm not sure. Right now I'm shooting them both about as good.
Yeah.
And every time I draw back a hinge, there's just that little bit in me. It's not like I'm super fearful, but they're just so easy to misfire.
Yep.
So much easier to misfire.
Yeah.
And I really notice it here when I'm shooting at home, and I got dogs and cats freaking jumping all over the place.
Well, and that's another
Yeah.
thing. I mean, there's all those variables outside too.
Yeah. That's why I committed to stick with a thumb, is because
The misfire.
I can shoot a hinge.
I've
but
misfired a
I
thumb,
have
though, too.
A
That
little
was-
bit of
Oh, me
fear,
too.
of that, and I'm like,
It-
I don't need that.
and I've shot
running
my
through
hinge a
head.
lot. I mean, a lot in the last year. I'm shooting it pretty well, but I can't completely get rid of the way back in the depths of my cobwebs in my head.
I wonder if
That-
that's a woman thing. Like, we just have more fears ingrained in us, like, than the men. They're like, oh, I'll be all right. And then we're like, but what if our cat ran out in front of, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, there is those
Yeah.
fears.
Yeah.
Just misfiring and hitting the wall. We don't want a hole in our wall, you know,
Right.
that kind of thing. Like, and the guys were like, "Oh, I
Wait,
can patch
that's
that."
fine.
You know,
A little bit of toothpaste. And
when Jim goes
Duct
in there to shoot, I finally got him trained. I was like, we got these TV in the armoire. I make him shut the doors too.
there you go.
Because he has to shoot past it. Now, we haven't come close to hitting it, but I'm like, every time I'm there, I'm like, I see that TV there. Maybe I shut those
Yeah.
doors
Yeah.
and protect it a little.
Well, we broke a window at
Yeah.
our house. The
You
inside. Well, yeah. I promised I wouldn't say who it was, but anyway. But that was because of the bag. The arrow
I
went
have
through the
some
bag. But we
perfect holes
had
through. Have you
some-
seen our garage
Yes,
door?
I
It looks
have.
like Swiss cheese. Are you kidding me?
And we've had those accidents too. We've got a couple of spots in the wall and that sort of thing. But I guess that's the chance you take.
I think
But
that's us.
I don't want
of
to
women with,
add to that
Right.
a hint, if the hinge misfires or I don't draw the bow correctly and it
Uh-huh.
gets away from me. And yeah, I've committed to shooting a thumb. And
So do you think it's bad to switch back and forth in practice?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
wondering
do.
if, okay.
Yeah, because then you're going to do some weird pulley thing and
Unless you get to the point where you're cheating your release and you're starting to anticipate
I
your
cheat 'em
shot.
both. I can
that's
cheat
a
'em
big
both.
thing is if you're anticipating and
Maybe I
use-
should not send off that caliper and
you just hang on to it. But I think when it gets to that point, it doesn't hurt to switch. But if you're starting to anticipate, because that's going to make you panicky and everything. And I don't know. I was going to go somewhere else with that, but I don't know. Oh well, it'll float back around eventually. Something about committing.
I think
to
we
the
were
race.
just trying to figure out
But
which.
shooting it like you would a hinge,
Right.
not just
Yes.
triggering it with
No,
your thumb.
I
but
know.
Yeah.
One of the things, and tell me if you've noticed this, or maybe this is just me doing something incorrect, but with this elite, because of the limb stops, one of the things that I've really had to get through to my brain is when you hit that wall and you're still pulling, it's like I know I'm pulling, but things feel like they've stopped because there's absolutely no give. And so you kind of almost have to accept that it doesn't feel like a lot's happening, but stuff
Something
is happening.
Yes. And
it takes a while to kind of get past that
Yes.
because it's like, I feel like I'm pulling. I'm pretty sure I'm pulling,
but nothing's happening.
right.
And Doug Hutchison his words float through my head when I'm like that and I'm at full draw and it feels like I'm working those back muscles and nothing's happening. Be patient. Be patient.
I've had to
Be
do a lot
patient.
of that,
Be
but
patient and the shot will go, but I have to tell myself, be patient because it feels like I'm just working.
I've kind of come to that revelation, honestly, in just the last couple weeks with this bow, just shooting it. I couldn't see any. I've been putting little pieces of tape up there because I couldn't see any with my hunting setup. And I was like, I figured out what it is with this thing. It feels like you're doing something, but you're not. Does that make sense? It's like, then you kind of get confused. Like, did I stop my shot process? Am I still shooting? I think I'm still shooting. It feels like I'm still
Right.
pulling.
And I think that is one of the things because of the high let off on it.
Right.
That has gotten some archers in trouble or frustrated with it is because you're just sitting there and you could just sit
It's
there
got
all
a-
day long at full draw
I'm
and
so
it's not
baffled
going
at
anywhere.
that.
It's got
Let-off.
it's got a high let off and it's got just a solid wall. I mean, with my Hoyts in the past, I could feel a hair of give as I was pulling. You can feel the sponginess
Yeah.
in the wall.
Yeah.
You can feel us. You can't feel it with this.
And you almost, and like with the Hoyts and like even my Bowtex that I shot, even my PSE, everybody says, well, it'll keep you honest, because there's the let off isn't as high. And so there's a little, and so I think
so you're pulling against it.
Yeah. And it's pulling against you and you feel that. Whereas with this elite,
Yeah. But
you don't really have
a few
that.
weeks ago, I was like, okay, Barb, you're pulling. Just shut up and wait. And then it was like, oh, hello. Okay, I am actually working the shot. It just.
Yeah, you just have to be patient and let it go.
You just have to wait.
And don't help it. And I think that's where other archers get in trouble when they try to help the shot go. Then, like I know with my bow, if I try to help it go, I'm going to shoot
I heel it
high
out the
or
top.
I'm going to shoot left. Yeah,
I heel it out the top or left. Yes, every time almost.
And you have a V grip on yours too, don't you? Yeah, it looks like it.
I don't know. I don't know what the difference is, but I finally came to that realization with this bow. Like, am I, like, I'd even like pull and like be pulling and pulling. I'm like, am I doing anything?
Yeah.
Did I stop? I feel like I didn't stop.
And
Did
so
I
then
stop?
somebody will chime in and say, okay, now if you're starting to think that, then you have to let down and start over.
It's just a matter of getting used to the bow. It's
And it takes a lot of time with the bow to get used to
Yeah.
it. I'm finding that out. Now, I have switched to a ring, and I wanted to ask Annalesha about that because you shoot a ring, don't you? What is your ring doing? Like when you're at full draw? Because, I mean, mine's floating around, but I've convinced myself as long as I can see the X, it can float all day long, or do you hold yours perfectly still?
I hold mine. It will float until I get to that point that it completely stops and I'm comfortable with where it's setting, then I release. So it stops. But I have it to where I line it up and it's completely like I don't see red. Like I just see the yellow. So it depends on where I'm at, and I've noticed this here recently because I've been overthinking everything. But like, I think it's Overton's out in Lawrence. The lighting there from the back makes the pink, because I have a pink circle.
Okay. I was going to ask you what color you
Yeah,
have.
and I'm ready to go to a black one, and I've had that for about 2 years. 2 years with that circle. And I don't know if I want to do a black on the back and a pink on the front and then be able to flip it. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet because I don't mind it. I don't mind it on the 5 spot. It's fine. It stands out. I can distinguish everything. But when I get it back and the pink goes around the red at Overton's, I lose
It kind of
where
washes
it's
out
at.
or whatever.
Yeah, where it's at.
It's too close of a color to the red, do you think?
Yeah, only there though. Other places it's dark. You can't even tell it's pink.
And it's funny
really?
you said that because I told Vince one of the reasons I thought the 5 spot looked so dark, I didn't mention this earlier, is because the ring is black. It's a thick black ring.
See, that I don't mind it on the 5 spot at all.
And I'm wondering if it's the black and the dark blue that is
Are
making it
too
look
similar.
funky. Yeah, so I should probably slap a different color on the other side.
On the other side. That's what I mean, I've done it before. When we were at Worlds, I was having a hard time with the lighting outside and the circle. So I, at the time, my sponsor was up there and had a different sized ring. So I stuck it on the opposite side just so I could keep my other, and then it just shrunk it down and then I just took it off. But, so that I could have the same size for indoor. But I think I'm going to do the black on the back just for when we shoot in a lighting situation like that. And I fought through it. I shoot there all the time, but not during the day. So when we have day tournaments, I'm noticing that I'm having a harder time with that pink circle on that red ring. And then I have to really concentrate on how round the circle is because it could be oval and I'll be thinking, I really have to concentrate. So there's that. But no, I get it to completely stop before I let it go.
Good for you.
Not always, but most of the time.
Mine's always moving. It
Mine
rarely
is
sits
too.
still.
Now on the circle, I haven't shot a spot or a pin in so long. I wouldn't remember what that was like other than, when the words go across the bottom and you do this music, you read along song. That's probably what it looked like nowadays. But
The bouncing ball.
the bouncing ball, yeah, that's what I was going for. Or like in the car when your RPMs are going. But no, when I set the ring, it always sets low. I don't know if you have the same issue. But it sets low and I set it there and it's completely still and it's just sitting there and you're like, come on. That little hair of a moving up, is that hard? I mean, you're completely settled. Like, what?
Where
Every
does your
time.
arrow impact though? When do you shoot when it's like that?
No,
Or do you make it?
I have to like really relax and get it, I have to adjust or pull or I don't know. It's been a little bit of a deal this year. It was last year too, but I got through it sooner than I'm dealing with it now, because I haven't really shot as much. But no, I mean, there's that too. And if I find if I come in on the target with the circle, level everything up, get semi, from moving, steady, and then I come down into it. I find
Come from above it.
Yeah, and just working that through and doing that every time is all I need to get back into that groove. But
there are times when my shot breaks and I swear my ring, like the top edge of my ring or one of the edges of my ring is like covering the X and the shot's gone and I'm like, oh crap, and it goes to the X. I don't understand how that
I know.
happens.
I don't either. And I always go back to, wow, I have a great forgiving bow when that happens. Like, where did that come from? Like, why did it release at that moment?
Well, if you listen to enough podcasts from coaches, the aim or not aim.
I call it instinctive compound.
is a big, because I've done it before. Like, it seemed like, how did it hit there? Because it, because it didn't seem like my pen was there.
Right.
It's God's way of saying, here's a gift.
I think your brain is so capable of making those just quick, minor adjustments so fast.
I
also believe that too.
And I think by the time the arrow's going, is being shot from the bow, is probably faster than what our brains register. So it probably actually broke when you could still see it. But by the time your brain registers
what do you have? 4 power? 4 power.
I
also wonder too if maybe it's not as far off as you think it is, because we're looking at it through magnification.
That's true.
And so it seems like it's a mile
off. The perceived movement,
and
right.
It's really not as far off as we maybe think it
probably
is.
Yeah, but it sure seems like if you're just a hair off and it goes right where you were aiming, you're just like, man, I was just a hair off.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know it does happen.
I could be like a mile off and you give them to me.
But see, now Dudley will say that it's all back here, behind your release, because your arm is not going straight back behind you. It went to the side a little bit or something like that. That's his take on that.
I believe
that will affect where your arrow impacts.
I agree with that, because I can tell you, I do this thing sometimes where when I'm pulling, if it's not, I'm a wrist snapper. I got to really train. I mean, it takes me a lot of focus to not snap my wrist to make it go. I'm really bad about it.
With your hinge?
Yeah, both. I'll do
okay.
it on both.
Okay.
It's real ugly with a button. It'll go 4 or 5 inches left. Huh?
You a wrist snapper, you. Well, he talked about that on one of his knock-on TV.
And it's like, I don't even think about it. I don't know where it came from. It's just like I catch myself doing it after it's done. So I have to really focus on, I have to think about the tip of my elbow and pulling it back. I got to forget about my hand altogether and my wrist and just try to keep all this straight and just think about my elbow going back.
And he said on the one, I don't know if he was Facebook Live or if it was on YouTube, anyway, about just as the shot breaks, contracting your bicep, and that will cause your arm to rock back the same every time. But I'm like, okay, I am not to that level yet. I catch myself wanting to squeeze my bicep before the shot's breaking, but it's a process. They say practice with a purpose. So find one thing that you want to work on, and in your practice sessions, work on that, focus on that, and then move on to something else.
See, I don't do that. I don't do it just one practice chain or work on a thing. It's like a season. I'll take a season out to work on that one thing. Only because if I do too many, I feel like I'm just going in circles.
Well, usually what happens when I feel like I'm working on something and it's working well, then something else goes.
Yes, that's how I feel.
Some other thing, like, what the heck happened there? Why is that happening? Why is my bow flinching like it, doing this? So
sometimes when those things happen, though, I just go back to what felt comfortable.
I go turn on Netflix and quit shooting for a little bit.
If you just go back to what feels comfortable, sometimes that's your best remedy. I've relied on that a lot of times because I'll be working on something, working on my shoulder, whatever it may be, and I'm just chasing that arrow around, changing my sight, and then when I go back to just what's comfortable, everything starts working again, and I'm like, oh, why did I ever leave you?
Yeah.
This feels so great.
Yeah.
So sometimes overthinking it is a bad thing too.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, if you get yourself set up with too many projects for your body, I'm gonna work on my shoulder and my hand and my mind.
It leads to
and my stance.
I think it causes alcoholism.
And nervous breakdowns.
And when somebody teaches a brand new kid and they're going, oh, you need to do this and you need to do this and you need to do this, I never realized. I mean, that kid's mind is just blown at that point. Like, give them one or two things to work on, and then the next time you see them, give them another thing. And if they're doing all right, let them go for a while and then work on. If you see something, then present it to them, because I know that I'm that way.
Oh, they'd be overwhelmed with, and they'd never be able to keep it straight.
I'm sure I think that way because that's the way I needed to be taught. Very infant-like. Very infant-like. Here is step one. Go
Point
for it.
Point and shoot. Let her rip.
Yeah, until I started feeling comfortable enough to know what the next step was, until I was comfortable enough for that next step. So sometimes the mind is your worst enemy, and if you overthink all that, I think that's worse. But that's the infant mind that I have, I guess.
Well, it is kind of like you got to think about a lot of stuff and you got to really focus, but then that can also get into a trap of a bad thing.
Yeah.
Then you get trapped in this mire of thinking about too much stuff.
Right.
And can't figure out what's going on, and then you're just so uncomfortable and nervous.
You
Sorry.
turn into a big snowball.
And
Kiefer brought a few candies out here, and I'm sorry if you hear crunching in your ear.
I'm crunching a little too.
Are you? I don't hear you crunching.
I'm trying to be real quiet about it, but
it sounds really loud in my own headset, so I apologize if anybody can hear
I'll make
that.
sure to amplify that when I edit.
I'll just
Those were all fake, by the way.
He talks about that in that book, Rotella, Golf is Not a Game of Perfect.
Yeah.
About the whole conscious mind and subconscious mind, and how you work on the conscious stuff in training and practice, and then at some point, you've got to get it ingrained to where it will switch over to subconscious, so that you're not constantly dwelling on those things. At some point, it switches over.
Practice it enough, it becomes a habit, and that habit just becomes it.
Right.
And there is no definition for it. It happens.
Yes.
That's how I roll. Like, it's hard for me to explain my shot process because I put it out of my head to a point where it's hard to describe.
See, and I keep mine very, very much part of my focus, like in a tournament, because it forces me to keep my mind busy on that and not thinking about other things.
Yeah, that's when I'm singing songs.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I totally get everything pushed out. If I haven't trained hard enough or practiced hard enough to get to the point in a tournament that I can't get it out of my, and I can just sing my song, then it's going to be a bad tournament because I'm overthinking something. And so there's that too.
And he says that.
So what song do you sing?
All About That Bass.
Oh. Out loud?
No. Heck no. People would be like, can you shut up? What are you doing? Are you talking to yourself again?
Okay. Speaking of shutting up, on the line, well, it's not really shutting up.
Line etiquette?
Yeah, let's kind of go over line etiquette for people who might be going to Vegas. So,
or any other tournaments between
I don't
now
know.
and then?
Is there there's an etiquette book for how you set the table, like a Miss Manners and fold your napkin and politely eat dinner. Is there a etiquette book for shooting indoor tournaments?
I don't know that there's a book.
Can Julie write a book
I could probably write
about
a book. They're in the rules,
Can-
though. I think if you look at NFAA, I think
Is
they
there
have,
is there a
I don't know
line?
if it's
sure at
rules or
some
guidelines
point
or something.
somebody's-
Are they general or are they
Specific?
like? There's
There's
okay.
no names. No.
There's a lot of stuff.
So
There-
and so talks on the line.
but
Be
there's
warned.
no. I guess what I'm saying, like some of them are rules, but there's kind of some unspoken rules, right?
I think a person. I'll have to go back and read it, but I thought somebody could get a talking to or a wrist slap or something if they had enough complaints or.
Really? Okay.
I don't know.
In order to make
a
a complaint, you have to pay money. So
Yeah. So
usually
people are-
there's no complaints made.
Unless you went
Right.
down to the casino and won, then I
Even then, I don't know. I mean,
But-
you'd be happy you won, and you don't save
just
your
go
money.
drink alcohol and forget about it.
Right.
But I think okay, league at Sedalia.
Yes.
I was shooting it for a while, and we would talk on the line.
It's a little different.
But that's a little more laid back. When you're
Sure.
in a competitive situation at a local tournament
There's
or
more at
Vegas
stake.
or nationals, you really, in my opinion, need to be very, very aware of your line etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're within your space and try. I'm very paranoid about my arrows. I have to slide my quiver a little farther around
too.
my back. Otherwise, when my arm rocks back on the shot, when it breaks, I'll jab the nocks into my arm. So I have to scoot it a little farther around my back, but then my arrows are so long, I'm trying to be cognizant of it interfering with the person behind me. And so I every now and then ask them, are my arrows bothering you? Just
So
tell me.
number one, stay within your
Stay
how
within
many
your
inches?
space. It's 24. Typically, it's 24.
Yeah,
Is
over
it
10s I
18?
think is like the minimum.
10.
I know it.
It
Does
feels
seem
really
small.
tight in there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Just a couple feet.
yeah.
24 inches is 2 feet.
I think
Ah.
it's 18 or 24. I'll have to look that
I
up.
thought it was
Yeah.
18. I thought it was less than 2 foot for
It
some
might
reason.
be.
I'm not sure. We
Okay,
could probably
so
look it
that's
up.
number
Okay,
one.
stay within your allowed
Yeah, I mean, to me,
space.
the number is kind of a,
Don't breathe
that's-
on the what? Okay, what about the left-handed shooters and the right-handed
Oh
shooters?
yeah, that's always fun. Try not to breathe in
Um,
their face.
Usually, if I have a left-handed shooter in front of me, I usually try to stagger our shots.
Yeah.
That's just what I try to do.
Okay.
Now, if they're picking up on that and they follow along, that's up to them. But I tried, after their shot is done, I try to pull up and take my
Right.
shot.
Yeah, there was.
So if they have really bad breath, do you hand them a piece of gum?
I've yelled at a young man for eating onions before getting on the line with me. I said, "Really? I hate onions. Your breath stinks." And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, next time I won't." But
Yeah.
no, I mean, no, I
Y-
don't think you
You
can.
just
Yeah,
The smell
put
of a
up with
human
it
being.
You can't
as much
carry
as you
these.
can. Yeah.
I mean, I can offer them to everyone, but you gotta have enough for the class. It's kind of rude
Hey.
to. So, I mean, there's that, and make sure that, especially new archers, this is a harder one because they don't realize what their bow is doing, and when they're loading their arrows, sometimes their bow is landing on your back.
Yeah.
Maybe just the cam or something, and they don't feel it. I don't know what's going on, but I've had that happen. I've had a lady standing behind me draw a arrow out of her quiver, and as she did that, it went straight up into my hair. And then she held the arrow there until I took the shot. So, I mean, she was aware of what she did, so she tried not to ruin my shot, but yet
Yeah.
she wasn't aware of where it was coming out and hitting somebody too.
So practice doing all your movements and staying within that 18 inches or 24 inches, however.
Yeah.
For some reason, I keep wanting to think it's 18, but I could be wrong
I
about
thought it was
that.
like 21, but
Maybe it is 21.
I'll see if I can look it up real quick.
Talking on the line is definitely something you don't want to do. I've talked a few times online. I try to make a real good effort not to. I had somebody tell me, "Wait, you didn't see that bad shot? You're not going to talk me down from that?" I'm like, "I'm on the line."
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes
Somebody said what now to you?
they said, "You're not going to talk me down? I mean, you're not going to reassure me?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm on the line."
if I talk to somebody on the line, I try to talk very quiet so that I'm not distracting other people. And I had a left-handed gentleman on day one, and Illinois.
Right.
And so we were face to face, and we would get to chit-chatting back and forth a little bit, and I'd stop myself because like, okay, well, we can't.
Sometimes
You know, 'cause I don't
that's
wanna
to break
disturb
ice.
other people.
I mean, because a left-handed
Yeah.
shooter, you're in a very intimate amount of space.
Mhm.
And you're face to face, and normally that's your bubble. If
And
somebody's
it's-
facing away from you, it's a little different. Your
Yeah.
bubble is a little bigger. But when somebody's facing
Yeah.
you do tend to feel kind of, I don't know, uncomfortable. And I think left-handed shooters are probably more aware of that than right-handed shooters.
Yeah,
And
that's true. I never really thought
and
about
they
that.
probably try to spark a conversation.
Mm.
I mean,
Your hair smells great.
yeah. I mean, I know that I've noticed that. Like, they don't want you to feel uncomfortable. It's just the way they have to shoot.
Yeah. And we were fine. We hit it off. We got along great and
Right.
everything. But because we were hitting it off so well, chit-chatting, I was trying to keep that to a minimum because I didn't want to disturb anyone
You didn't want
else.
to, yeah. You wanted
Yeah.
to stay focused too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yourself.
You're right. And then on day 2, Beverly and I were on the same line, and it would get down to about 10 seconds. And the first time it happened, I'm like, okay, do I say anything to her? You know, is she, am I going to distract her and stuff? Because I had that happen to me, and it was uninvited, the help. So she did say something. She's like, please let me know when the time runs down. I'm like, that's fine. That's great. If you want me to do that, I'll be happy to do that. So like if it would get to about 30 seconds or so, I'd say, you've got plenty of time. And she'd stand there, and then anytime it got down to 10, I would just say 10, 8. You know, I wouldn't count down every number, but she knew. But we had worked that out. We had agreed to that. It's not like I
Beforehand.
just said, hey, I'm going to do this for you or whatever. And she appreciated it too. She wanted it, whereas some people, I don't think, want that.
I know, but at 8 seconds, I mean, wouldn't you rather let it go wherever it's going to go?
Yeah, and she did.
Instead of.
And she did. I mean,
I
and she
don't-
made beautiful shots too. She was just totally cool about the whole thing.
Right. I mean, I think there's to a point on the clock that you really should start to speak up because
Right.
they really are unaware
And I
at
think,
that point.
well, and I think that's one of those unspoken things too, where to me it's almost fairly standard. If it gets to 10, you just start counting it down for the person. That's
whoever
kind
it
of a
is,
given.
even if you didn't talk
But when
to
you
them,
have 40 seconds left and they say, hey,
Yeah,
I'm
you
going to
don't
count it
need-
down for you when it gets down to 10.
yeah.
To me,
yeah.
that's, you know, that's
You could get a couple of
excessive.
shots off in 40 seconds.
Mhm.
At least one for sure, not a problem.
Yeah. But
Right.
because I got upset over somebody trying to help me do that, so then I was very conscientious about it
Right.
in Illinois about not doing the same thing to someone else. But she and I chatted and we worked it out, and it was
So
great.
there's that. And then there's walking off the line when
Okay,
somebody's at full
that's,
draw.
Yeah.
That's okay when they're at full draw.
yes.
I used to wait until that person was completely done with all the arrows. Depending on if I have to pee or not, you may get my body up there on the line for your whole 3 to 5 arrows, whatever round you're shooting. And if that person tends to walk off while I'm in between shots, I'll walk off if they're in between
yeah,
shots.
it doesn't
before they're-
bother me when they do that.
It doesn't really me either. And the way I load my arrows kind of backwards. So if somebody wants to walk off in front of me, it just gives me that much more room to kind of
Exactly.
load an arrow. And so all that really to me is not important. Because I'm in my la la land at that point.
Except for when you're at full draw. Or do you
If
care?
if I'm at full draw and somebody pops in on me, it's very distracting. Or if they pop out, because usually if I'm shooting with somebody on the line, they have a freestyle setup which has a long stabilizer. If you catch that stabilizer
Yeah.
In your
heading out
vision?
in my vision, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What was that? Like something's coming at me. So, or coming in, you know, a lot of times I can feel their presence and I'm like, just stay back there. Just stay back there.
Yeah.
Until I'm done. And then, you know, then I'm kind of thinking about it even more. So
Why would they walk on the line?
like if they haven't made it up to the line, that usually happens
Probably locally or
local.
league or
Yeah.
something like that.
Like it
Oh.
wouldn't be
At
at
a
a
big
bigger
tournament,
tournament unless they're like having equipment failure or something and they're really dragging butt to get up on that line.
Mhm.
But yeah, don't pop in on the line or pop out if somebody is at full draw.
Okay.
It's very, very.
Well, that's what I've
It's
always
distracting.
thought.
You
but
could accidentally hit them with your equipment.
Oh,
just
sure.
everything that Annalesha talked about.
Right, right. I was aware of that, but I've heard some people, and I not specifically know who, but I've heard some people get fussy when you leave the person there by themselves
Yeah.
Oh,
if they've
on
got
the-
a couple more arrows, even
That's
if
what I
they're
said.
Yeah.
If I notice that they keep popping off the line when I'm like, if I've had
If they leave
if-
you out there
if you
by
shot
yourself,
3 of your 5 and you got 2 more and they leave,
yes,
then you're like,
then
okay,
I realize then I realize we've got an unspoken. I'll leave it and you don't mind.
yeah.
okay.
So but if there's
So
a
you
new,
base your etiquette on somewhat of the other.
if I know
person.
it's a new person, I will use all my etiquette.
Yes.
I will stay on the line for their whole entire shot process. I will check on them to make sure they are done. I will unspokenly kind of teach them that that is the etiquette, because for the next person that maybe they'll do the same. So there's that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a nice thing to do. Not everybody's nice.
No.
So
No. But really, I haven't really run into too much trouble. Probably that one incident is the biggest thing that I've ever run into
Right.
on an indoor.
and then another thing, usually the top person, okay, so you have a bale of 4.
Right.
There's 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Usually having the top 2 people pull their arrows out first
Mhm.
saves eyeballs. I mean, I'm a klutzy person. Every time I see them there and they're just standing, I'm like, oh,
And I think that's, but isn't that, I mean, is that, I know like NASP and stuff like, or well, I don't, NASP, I can't speak for the rest of it. They teach the kids
to do that.
to pull the highest arrows first and the ones closest to you because it's a safety issue.
Right.
And
So there's that
I
too.
would assume that's why
To me,
the
that
expectation is
and if I'm scoring and I'm writing scores down and all this, everybody's been called, everything's good, and I'm standing there adding up, go ahead and pull your arrows. Don't wait for me to be done. If I've given you the go ahead and start pulling arrows. That gets me back on the line faster.
Yeah.
So there's that too. And then bottom line. And then, I mean, I don't necessarily think about, because a lot of people fix their targets, like repair their holes. If the top line pulls their arrows first, I don't care if they fix their arrows or fix their holes. And then I'll pull my arrows and fix mine, because that saves a little time too.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but if I'm on top, I pull my arrows, I step back, I let bottom pull theirs, I let them fix their target.
You probably
then
do
if
that
I-
for time for them, because bottom line would have to go right back and get on the
And
line.
maybe that's what it is. I don't even know why
I noticed
do it
you
that
did that
way.
last time, and I thought that's very courteous, and I need to start using that.
So
in
you
mine
wait
too.
till they're all done
I
to
like,
fix your paper.
if I'm on top,
because they're going to be the 1st
I'll
one
let
to
them
shoot.
pull their arrows. I pull my arrows, and then I let them pull their arrows. I let them fix their target, and then if I want to fix my target, I wait till the bottom is done, and then I'll step
Okay.
up and fix my
You
target.
don't stand on their shoulders or nothing while they're squatted down.
No, I don't. Well, it depends on who it is, but but and I mean, I don't know that anybody ever told me that or taught me that. That's just something that I've just always done. I can't
Yeah.
remember not doing it.
I've
that way.
never had paid attention to that until you did that at Overton's or wherever we shot the last couple weekends together. And I thought, man, that's very courteous. I need to start using that, because usually I'm bottom line, because I like to
You
shoot
could
bottom
probably
first.
stand back far enough with as tall as you are and your long arms, and they'd still have plenty of room to fix their target. And you could just
Yeah.
telescopically reach your arms out there and
Her
Go
Inspector
Gadget.
There you
arms.
go.
That's
So
pretty funny.
there's so we've covered,
talking on the line. Try
Yep.
to keep it to a minimum.
yeah.
Stay in your space.
Stay in your space. Don't walk off the line.
calling
Don't
time
come
on
in
us?
on the line at full. Somebody's at full
Right.
draw.
Those are really the biggies.
Definitely be aware of where your arrows are in your quiver.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times when there is a left-handed shooter, I tend to, okay, I'm watching Jim Frazier do, he's swatting bees or something.
Oh, having seizures or
That's
something
his,
over here.
well,
Oh, is
That's
that your
too
bubble?
big.
we discussed the bubble already.
Yeah.
I
But
have a John Carroll story when you're done.
yeah, just Okay, Kiefer's making a bubble now. He's dancing in his bubble. But being aware of where your arrows are and the way you pull them out and where
Yes.
they're going when you pull them out. And if you do the little arrow flippy twirl, make sure it's not like in anybody's way.
Right.
Yeah, keep it
Oh
in
no,
your square.
I always would just assume that people who do the flippy twirl like really knew what they were doing. Do you think some people do that and whack other people in the head with it, or
No.
they're just learning the flippy twirl.
they
Yeah.
maybe they should have been in marching
I
band
would
in the
say another thing that
I've
would
been
be
hit in
good.
the head with arrows in a quiver on the line.
Yeah.
Sorry to
in
interrupt
the
you.
head.
Yes, because I'm so short, and if there's a tall person, I'm not kidding. Their arrows have hit me in the back of the head.
I have never experienced that.
It was hilarious, or maybe in my back, but like upper back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Sorry
crazy.
for interrupting, but
Okay, so the other one I was thinking of is hygiene. If you go
Shower.
Deodorant.
yes, keep deodorant in your pouch. If you can't remember it for tournament day or league day, wear your deodorant, especially outdoors. Man, I swear I can smell some of them men, even if they're not. They just left it
Yeah.
at at the stake, and I'm just like, bah.
like a green cloud
Yes.
just hovering.
So
at the
there's that
stake.
too.
Yes.
Can you think of anything else?
Indoor though, have you run across anybody indoor that's
Oh, yes.
Yes.
super?
I have one just pop right in my head, and I'm never going to say names, but poof.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, I do.
You have to put like a little bit of Vicks under your
And
nose.
I wonder if it's
Yeah,
I wonder if
maybe.
it's because they don't want to wash their shooter's shirt.
That's
or
what I was gonna
whatever.
say.
When I wear my shooter shirt and we go out to eat afterwards. Yes, Jim, did you have something? You want? I cannot stand wearing it to go eat because it always smells like the food. Like if I have a 2-day shoot and I have one shooter shirt, which now I have more than that, but if I have one shooter shirt, I would like protect it so I didn't have to smell like tacos the next day because that's what Keith
Has
likes.
there anybody
tacos.
who's overdone it with cologne or perfume?
I've never had that.
Oh, that's good. I can
Yeah.
see that being a potential.
It's always the icky smells is what
Yes.
I notice.
I know.
Anybody expelling gas on the line?
Yeah, some people on purpose will eat a fiber
Well-
bar at lunchtime in his boom truck and make sure that everybody gets to enjoy his aroma and his brand.
That's probably like a league or something like that.
Yeah.
Practice. That happens at Carrollton too.
Yeah, it's almost like a competition who can have the
Yeah.
nastiest smell.
But at like a big tournament or
You don't-
even
you
a
don't
local,
have
I've
that.
never encountered that.
It's bad etiquette though, right? Like
yes.
Sure it is.
what if you have
at a big tournament to take a poo on the line?
I bet when all those guys are together,
Okay,
though, they probably let
I know
it
no
rip.
one on this podcast is looking at these two men looking at us like, what?
Yeah. Pib and Man Candy are in the room now.
Yeah,
I think they just crop dust us now.
probably.
Somebody did, I think. Yeah, I think it was Kiefer. Oh, he's taking credit for it. He's pointing to himself. Did you crop dust us? Huh?
Yeah, that's your name.
Oh.
That's your
You
nickname.
are now Crop Duster. CD.
Crop duster.
Crop Duster.
He's like, oh, cool. I got a nickname. Your nickname is Beefer. Did you forget this?
Beefer.
Beefer. Yeah. So anyway, I can't think of anything else.
What about people that shoot a shot and make comments after they shot? Like say they're happy with it or they're unhappy with it or
There is that too. I find
It
myself lately
depends.
doing that, and I'm
I do
getting
it too.
mad about the fact that it slips out. You do it too, Jim?
I'm just
I'm
gonna
trying to
tell
watch it,
people
but
that I
I've
just have
done it.
Tourette's.
Yeah. So ignore any cuss words that you hear coming from.
Well, and I let down my arrow the other day, and there's a young lady in my league in Lawrence that said it was scaring her. And I didn't ever think of me letting down as a violent act. Like, she said it was scaring her, didn't she? And she kept going, oh, you scared me. And I'm like, is this violent? I mean, am I like letting down in a dramatic way? And her brother's like, yeah, you do. And I'm like, I do? Doesn't feel dramatic. So I've been really conscious about that lately too.
I don't remember it ever being like that.
No? Okay.
No.
What do you when you let down? You're rah!
Well, I am.
We should
like
do it when you draw the bow.
4 foot.
Rah!
I am 4 foot taller than her, and I am Amazon.com. So there's that. But no.
I think you should just yell when you draw and let down.
Well, they said when I let down, I like expelled like, huh, you know, just like a big. I don't know.
I've never noticed that.
You've never noticed it?
No,
Good. That's good because I've shot with you probably a lot longer than them. So
Yeah, no.
maybe
I've
it's
never.
just that individual. I don't know.
That's funny because at Illinois, that the left-handed gentleman that I was on the line with, I do remember as you're talking, like if my shot would break and he was at full draw, sometimes it would distract him and he would let down. And it was the same way with me. If he would shoot or something and it was I would let down. So,
Well,
not
it is with a
bad
left-handed
or anything,
shooter.
but you know, but talking about letting down, that popped into my head. I'm like, oh yeah, he did let down.
Did he yell
A
when he
few
let down too?
No,
I
he
don't
didn't.
yell.
No. Now he did talk to himself a couple of times, like oh, or you know, oh that was stupid or whatever, and I would catch myself doing it a little bit.
I
too.
let it go occasionally, but if you have a full blown conversation,
Oh yeah, that's different. Totally different. And even people like a few lanes down from me having a conversation really doesn't bother me. To me, it's just background noise. It's if somebody's directly trying to engage me and I'm trying to shoot. It's like, no, get away from me.
and that's one of the reasons why I like the leagues that we've picked, because on Friday night there is a ton of kids hooping and hollering, talking about Minecraft, whatever they're doing, and people with their fiber bars coming on the line. I mean, there's so many different distractions that it's good for me, because when I do go to a tournament and it's mostly quiet, or if there's a kid crying in the background,
You've already been.
I've
like-
already worked those kinks out. The one that used to get me, and I'm sure it got you, and it's probably gotten you before too, is when Kiefer was little and would call mom.
Yeah.
For a long time, we wouldn't bring him to a tournament, not because we didn't want to enjoy him or whatever, but it was because the minute he said mom, I
brain.
worried.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Oh,
and
yeah.
it would always be like, my shoes untied.
Yeah.
or something like that. And then even when he got a little older and we, or he wouldn't be there or whatever, and I would hear somebody else say mom.
Yeah.
I just heard mom so many times during the day
Yeah.
that I assumed it was my child,
Well,
even though they weren't there.
And I would hear him say mom, and I would think it was Evan, and I'm like, what's he doing here? Like,
See?
how'd he get here?
And
I would turn because they sound alike to
Yes.
me, and it would get my attention, and I'm.
Yeah, we used to take Anna shooting. She was a little dangerous on the
She was
range
the one
3D.
that had the lollipop in her mouth, right?
Yes, she
Ooh.
almost took her teeth out with a lollipop because she had
A
a
full draw, and the stick.
Yeah, she had a
Oh,
full draw, and so like
Anna.
the string was back here by her mouth, but the stick was like this
we
direction.
have told this story. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember this
and
story.
then she's fallen, and arrows go everywhere. Yeah.
So you never got the mom. Maybe it's a boy thing.
I don't know. Morgan never really shot much, so for me it was just
whenever
the
I
boy.
hear mom anywhere, like I
turn around.
automatically, I think that would be for anybody who's had
A child.
little
yeah.
Klingons. Anywhere they go, they hear that mom
Yeah.
thing. They're like, huh?
But yeah,
I
you can
don't
tune
do
them
it
out
as
at
much
home,
now.
though.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
mom totally
Yeah.
tune them out. I have a funny story about Morgan when she was younger. I was over at the stove cooking supper, and she was over at the table. It was like a long kitchen dining room, and apparently she'd been trying to get my attention for some time, and I was completely zoned out. Mom, and finally she says, Miss Griggs, and I turned around and I said yes. Because for those of you
Miss
who don't know,
Griggs.
I'm a teacher, and so I'm used to everybody saying Miss Griggs, and so she called me Miss Griggs, and I immediately
Yeah.
turned around and answered her.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
It got my attention.
Yeah. So that was another thing, was the mom thing that
Mhm.
used to get me. Other
Yeah.
than that, I keep trying to
So
think of anything
we've
else.
given everybody their etiquette. Is that all of the etiquette, do you think?
Oh, there's probably more, but I'm
what
gonna
about
saying those are
I
the
do have
big ones.
one other question. What about asking how somebody's shooting in the middle of the shoot?
Yeah, I
Should
don't
you
care for that.
I
either.
don't.
don't care for that?
No, I try not to ask people that because I don't want to take their focus away from the task at hand. I don't want them to think about it.
Yeah, another one that gets me is if we're shooting whatever. Okay, so a 4 is not a 5, a 5 spot, or a 9 is not a 10. But if somebody comes up to you and goes,
What?
"Oh my gosh, I shot like 10 nines," and you're just like, "Man, why did you throw that out there?"
So if you're shooting poorly, don't go whining and complaining to somebody else while they're in their game.
Yeah, I don't
That
need to
makes sense.
hear the word 9 the
Yeah.
whole tournament. If I have a 9, I don't even like hearing it being said out loud. Like, I don't want somebody to impose what they've done into my
Brain.
into my tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
I have another story about that. You want me to share it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, 3D. And this was back when I'd been shooting for a few years and was gaining experience. But every time, it never failed. Vince would ask me, "Have you shot an 8 yet?"
Yes.
Knowing full well that I hadn't to that
Yes.
point. And it was a long time before I broke that
That's
habit.
rude.
He would say, "Have you shot an," and I guarantee that next shot would be an 8. And
Vince,
I
that
would
is
get
so
so mad at
rude.
him. I've gotten over it now. My Jedi mind powers are much stronger than his now.
You want
You
to
just
take
pushed
out
him
the
down on the
trash.
ice is what you did.
Shh, don't tell
Just-
anybody.
he thought he slipped and fell. It was your Jedi mind powers. That
She wasn't even looking his direction.
That's right.
He doesn't listen to us,
But
does
anyway, no, he doesn't.
Oh.
But I get that because it does plant that seed
does.
in your mind.
It does
and
plant a
you
seed.
don't want that.
Especially, the worst ones are 4s to me. If somebody goes, "Oh my gosh, I shot like 5 4s," or "I shot a 4," even just saying 4.
Don't say 4 or 9s.
Right. No
Yeah.
4s, no 9s.
I mean, 9s are a little easier to get than 4s. Like 4s are like
So can I go? I shot a not 5.
Yeah.
that would be better.
Yeah. A non-5. There we
Yeah,
go.
non-5.
A non-5.
I would totally take that over.
I shot a
but
not
then
10.
Then you're gonna have me going, "What?" Oh, okay.
And sometimes I think I do say stuff like that, and I don't
A
even
5
think,
minus
I'll
1.
be more cognizant of that now. because
5 minus
I'm
1.
like, all right, I'm not saying anything until it's all over. Just
Well,
thumbs up,
yeah.
whether it is or not.
And I sometimes just out of habit like asking somebody, "How's your day?" Sometimes I'll go, "How are you shooting?" You know, and it's not
3
that
squared.
Yeah. It's not, it's not that I really I mean, I'm trying to be polite and I do care about people, but I don't want to hear you're bad. It's like
Yeah.
if you ask somebody, "How are you having a good day?" you expect to hear it's great. And that's what you want to hear. And
So you want people to lie to you, is what you're saying. Whether it's a good day.
No,
or
I
not,
just think
saying.
that keep your 4s and your 9s to yourself.
Okay.
That's all.
Keep your 4s and your 9s to yourself.
I'll remember that. From
That's it.
now
I'm gonna.
on.
We need to write an etiquette list out. I'll have to go back and listen to it and write it out.
That would be good.
Keep your and it'll
Keep your
end
4s
with
and 9s to
keep your
yourself.
4s and your 9s to yourselves.
Well, I mean, it is. It's just a negativity.
Wear
thrown
your
into your
deodorant.
brain. Yep.
Keep your 4s and 9s to yourself.
Brush your teeth.
Brush
don't
your
eat
teeth.
onions.
No onions. I don't know. I'll think of the rest of them.
Have a good time. I don't like the serious.
Don't yell
people.
when you let down.
Oh, another one. I got another one already.
Uh-oh.
Okay, when you're at the bail and it's clearly out, it's not an X, and somebody wants to call a 9 judge every time, so you're always the last person to get back to the line.
Can you
We did that at the Midwest Open. Our bail did on Sunday. It was not intentional, but this poor guy came to our bail 7 out of 10 ends to call an
Really?
arrow. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because some of them were just, and it wasn't the same person. It was all of us at different times, and we'd have him come over and make the
I mean,
call.
if it's a legit thing, but some people don't even take a gander,
Yeah,
and they're just like,
yeah.
"Oh, call."
Oh no, it wasn't like that. We were getting down there looking, and we're like, okay, I think it's this, but call the line judge. And
Yeah.
But I'm sure people, because we were the last ones.
You were looking.
I'm sure everybody in there's like, what is wrong with those women?
Well, I mean,
They're blind.
I went and bought him a cookie and a bottle of water afterwards
that's
and gave
well,
it to him. For
you know,
half
I mean,
price.
was it like on
I mean,
that
he was
on the part
sweet.
of the paper where it's chewed out and there's no line
Yeah.
left?
Yeah, or it
and-
was right on the edge of the line, and it's like, well, I think it's this, but have them look at it anyway. And there were a couple of other bails down by us that had a line judge a lot, So he was close by anyway. So we're like, just have him come on over.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Sometimes that's okay.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
but it wasn't anything that was grossly,
yeah.
obviously out, and you're calling the line judge anyway. It wasn't anything like that. So I felt like we were utilizing him appropriately and not
Yeah.
just being butt heads.
Yep. Wow.
Anyway.
Okay,
How long have we talked?
Oh, hour and a half?
that figures.
Something like that. Almost.
That's why people like us, actually, because they can go on long trips.
They
and
can
listen to
count
our
long
voices.
trips.
We've really kind of made a habit of
I like
this,
the
of going
etiquette
over an
one though
hour.
because, and that was actually something I planned on asking because you hear everybody kind of chime in on different stuff. So this is etiquette. This is diva etiquette according to Divas.
Right.
Final say so.
A
That's
lot
it.
of
That's
those are-
all.
Right.
A lot of those are across the board, though. Those
Yeah.
aren't just diva. I mean, the.
Oh no, they're diva now.
Okay, they're
Basically,
All right.
don't be a
diva
butthole.
law.
Diva law.
I like it.
John Carroll shoots traditional,
Mhm.
shoots a recurve, and we were at Tri-County shooting one day, and I had never met him. I think I knew who he was just because of Vince being, kind of in a traditional still. I mean, a little bit. It's not like he had been back in the day, but anyway, John was on the line behind me, and every time he knocked his arrow, the top of his recurve would hit me on the head.
Right.
And I think this was just practice ends. And, the first couple of times it's like, that was an accident or whatever. And it kept happening. So finally I turned around and looked at him. I said, you keep hitting me in the head with your bow. We're going to fight. And at first I think he thought I was serious, but
Right.
I was just kidding. But I did need to let him know
Right.
that.
He maybe wasn't aware.
Yeah. And with the recurves and the long bows, that
he's
is a little bit different
and he is
way to shoot.
Yeah, and he's
load
kind of
your arrow.
tall too.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a time and a place for everything. I mean, I could jokingly let him know that day that he was,
John's super cool. I haven't seen him in quite some time.
yeah.
We see him quite a bit.
Do you?
But
Every
we're
now-
at Tri-County all the time.
Yeah. I'll see him pop up on Facebook every now and then with a smart comment, but haven't seen him in a while.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know. I really don't intend to be a butt to somebody or to be a jerk to them. And I really will hesitate to say something to somebody unless it keeps happening. But
That's a big one, though.
like that one incident, it made me mad because I flat out said, please don't talk to me. And they continued to do it. And to me, that was the ultimate breach in line
Right.
etiquette. And
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, and I think etiquette, to me, it's even a little bit more of a big deal in indoor because you're at close quarters for a good 3 hours during most games, 5-spot games. What, a good 3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Vegas faced like a 300, maybe not quite as long.
Oh,
Hour and a half,
yeah.
2 hours.
That'll go real quick.
Oh, yeah, especially at 2
But
minutes now.
but still, I mean, that's a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
you're in close quarters, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
if it starts out rough, it can make your day pretty miserable and long, or it cannot. So
Most of the time, I haven't had any problems. Most of the time, the group of women I'm with, I have a great time
Yeah.
mhm.
But I've made some amazing friendships in those 2 hours.
That's because you
Oh,
followed
yeah.
the diva etiquette.
I do try
Yeah.
to follow the diva etiquette. I tried to be a polite human being in general. Like, I don't ever try to step on anybody's toes. So
Yeah, me either. Now, if I feel provoked or something like that and I feel like it needs to be addressed, I will, but I don't try to go out of my way to be,
yeah.
hateful or hurtful to somebody or
Right.
anything. Especially when they're shooting or even off the line, sitting back waiting.
Yeah, but those are all the things that we mentioned tonight are for real things that people should know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't know them, you know them now.
So no
So-
excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. Try to put those steps into process. Into your shot process.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
were you ladies ready to go home and go to bed? I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't have to get up and go to work tomorrow.
We're gonna leave
so-
her in the garage recording by herself.
Well, I do have something to do tomorrow to keep me occupied, though, and that's to work on this to have it ready to go for Thursday.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mhm.
So this will be our last podcast before Christmas. So
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas, everyone.
Hope everybody, if you're traveling, stays safe, and if you're shooting, shoot straight. And for all those little kiddos, I hope Santa brings everything that you were wanting archery-wise.
Thanks for giving us a pretty good year, too, on the Bo Divas. We literally started doing this and had no clue what we were doing.
And we still
We've
kind of don't have a clue, but I
No,
feel like we are
but
getting
you guys
better.
keep downloading, so that's pretty great.
Yeah,
and
Yeah, those are nice
we
gifts
appreciate
to
it,
us.
yeah.
right,
Mhm.
so
Letting us know we're worth
yeah,
something.
and again, if you have a topic, somebody you want us to talk to, we're pretty open.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Let us know. Shoot us a message.
If you're a human being that wants to talk to us, send us a message. If you know somebody, we're always looking for topics.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yep.
And you got to do all the Divas stuff, the podcast.
Oh, we are going to try to start the web page up a little bit.
What's the website
Okay.
for that, Julie, again?
That's
www.bodivas.com.
Yep.
And then the Facebook page is
Bo Divas Podcast.
and Instagram. I don't know what that is.
I think it's Bo Divas podcast too.
Yeah. If you really want to get a hold of us, just message us on Facebook. That's usually the best way to get a hold of us. Some of you are friends with us on our individual pages. So if you need to get a hold of us, find us on Facebook. That's
Yes.
the best way.
Sounds
Anything
good.
All right, we're tired. We're ready for our nap.
I think
Yeah,
we're
I
just
know. I
kinda
feel like I'm-
babbling
We
now.
got to finish
right?
up our Christmas shopping.
Told you this
Ugh.
is the part nobody cares about because they're already spun out from everything else we talked about.
But see, I would be one of those people that would listen to the end because I would
all
want
the
to
funny
see if there was
snippets.
some.
That's when all the cuss words come up, right?
right.
The
so,
drinking and swearing and
Yeah. Oh, and we didn't talk about the SSs, like we said we were going to. The shooter.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a whole episode.
That'll
there.
just have to be a different
The
episode.
SSs.
That's
yeah,
the
the
whole-
SSs.
well,
I
that'll
forgot
be a
about that.
little cookie for the next time.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
See you guys later. Have a good
Thanks.
Christmas. Bye.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye bye.